everyone, something up 2 and welcome to another History of Mods, this time on TSONCraft. I'll be going through iterations from 1.8.9 to 1.12.2, and then in maybe a half episode or so, we'll sideline a bit from TSONCraft to go to OmegaCraft and LordCraft, which are pretty much the tech and magic mods that originally were part of TSONCraft originally, but then split into their own separate mods, and also having a few different directions besides a fair amount of stuff continued from the main ideas. So yeah, besides it just being a hardcore survival mod now, most of the stuff that you actually see in 5 is pretty much what's been around in that since the beginning, from like cave chests to the basins to other bits and pieces, but in a fairly different way. So yeah, just in the original 1.8 of it, and yeah, it was pretty much just only tools. Beginning the cauldrons and other bits and pieces, having transmutation tables, which is kind of the magic beginning, kind of the cave technology type aspects of the mod that I'm commonly familiar with at least around 1.9 onwards, and that I was familiar with it more so. So pretty much the main framework, even the cave biome aspects are there, bits and pieces of documentation in a more simple form at the time, cauldrons and other bits and pieces, and basically your goal was obviously to make the tools and other bits and pieces over time, besides just using the basic framework of things. Otherwise, in another iteration of the first TSONCraft, you pretty much got certain things like the runic torch, runes and other bits and pieces to expand on magic aspects, a bit more to do with some of the survival aspects, like the blends and glass and otherwise. Mostly a lot more small stuff, but the guides were most likely replaced with just having a single one, and then we still have, now have the books of knowledge, which you use obviously more so for the later parts of the crafting aspects. So obviously in that, if you're familiar with the mod, obviously you've got the cauldrons that you put certain aspects in, and then from there in that you expand in that to getting more from tools, more aspects from the other dimensions, and then surviving from there. The cave dimension stuff seems to still be there. But yeah, look into later 1.8.9, 1.9, and then sort of go into TSONCraft 3 more so with 1.10, 4, and then 5 now. In the later portions of TSONCraft 1, you pretty much have a lot more going on with the cave machines, certain other beginnings of the tech aspects. Got the cabling system, which is obviously wireless rather than wired and that from certain points, and they just automatically accept you'd be having certain points. The transmutation was still, I'm pretty sure, like your magic cave machine storage of energy, after you'd put certain cave fuels in there. A lot more blocks going on, more ores, dusts, other bits and pieces, and yeah, you most commonly use this sort of stuff and that a bit more in 2 and 3 besides the just the beginning of it here. It still works, but yeah, armor, bits and pieces. TSONCraft 2, and using a later version here. I guess we got a bit more with plates, a bit more with the cave machines and the magic side of things with the cave dusts, which then was expanded upon mostly into inlays, which you would use with rune stones to use special magic spells of some kind, of certain kind, sorry. Transmutative orbs, which you use with the transmutation tables, which were not exactly used for energy magic storage, and that's similar to, say, an energy power unit of some kind, but were eventually used to obviously transmute like you'd expect. Transmutation table 2, and yeah, pretty much just a lot of refinements as well as new additions here, really. We'll get into 3 and then I'll completely change things in some more major ways. Besides the fact that I miss the wild carrots and the magmite aspects, as one does, yeah, we've now got it where obviously there's a bit more in terms of blocks that can be crafted, and also the original resource blocks you find in cave biomes. Let's see. Magmite, tools, more fuels. Tool sets being a lot more common now, with many of the different materials in the mod to reflect ores as well. Got many different wooden armors, books of knowledge, and the magic, as well as cave machines system being fully worked out, as well as the runestones having their proper tiers now. A bit more inlays. Magmatic reactor being a conversion from basic tiered machines to being now magmite versions, which are more powerful and allow for a lot more. Got upgrades. Nick Torch is still here. I think we only had the one tier of storage device one. No, the regular and the magmite. Yep. In the 1.10.2 version we got it where we had more to do with the elemental matter toolset besides the other ones that we already have, besides porting over things and such. Cave dusts, and a fair amount of refinements here and there. Different tiers of casings for the different machines still. The different solar glowing and technically panels just yet. No, we did. Only can make a craft at that point, okay. Which hadn't come out yet. And besides the fact that I also forgot to mention the actual transmutation system, having it where instead of having multiple tiers of it and different things you can convert into certain energy units and bits and pieces, you obviously have it where it was a singular tier and you had to enable it in configs. Otherwise though, pretty much the finalization of the cave dimension, I think at this point, besides the before machine complete redo that was TSONCraft 4. It's pretty much what this last version was, besides the armor, which wasn't in the last version, that you could customize with the bits and pieces, the runic tiles and reactive matter, the fact that there was the boss crystals, which, like the runes, you would use magic with inlays and other bits and pieces, yes, for the runes, but for the bosses you would have an infinite of that elemental power after you defeated the boss. So if you wanted infinite earth or infinite lightning or other bits and pieces, then you could at that point. In sort of the latest 1.10.2 and then sort of moving into 1.11.2, you had it where you had the old and the new versions of machines, but then in 1.11 obviously onwards it was that they had the complete redesign of things where you would pretty much, I think, customize from, yeah, you had the configuring, you had the ability to configure from different sides besides just only the main slots and maybe some upgrades. I'm pretty sure that was the most major takeaway besides some boss related magic increasing stuff. So 2 more bosses, energy siphon, those really good pieces. And obviously from there, after the 1.11 version, it was pretty much pushed to the side so that OmegaCraft and LordCraft could be created, and then we ended up with TSONCraft as a hardcore survival, tools, weapons, food, armor, otherwise mod, and pretty much to its latest version today. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye. I'll be looking at OmegaCraft and LordCraft in my half episode, and yeah, you can see how